Hey guys, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools Q&A edition, where we talk about tools and tool related activities. So our first question is from Richard. So Richard asks, what is a brushless lawnmower and why is it everywhere now? Okay. He sees them all over the place. Well, Richard, that's what's going on right now. Brushless lawnmowers are slowly taking over the market. But what exactly is a brushless lawnmower? Well, I did a video on what a brushless motor is. Okay, and that's really the only difference between a brushless lawnmower and the traditional lawnmowers that you grew up with. Okay, brushless lawnmowers simply have a brushless motor, right? Meaning that there are no carbon brushes, there is no commutator, and so forth, right? Which means that the motor lasts longer. And also, in a brushless motor, the locations of the windings and the magnets are reversed. Now, this allows the motor to adjust according to the conditions that, or the load that's put upon it. Okay. So if the lawnmower is going over a rough patch of grass, the motor will adjust. Whereas in a conventional motor, you set it to a certain speed, and no matter how rough the patch is, it's going to stay at that speed, and you just got to kind of power through that. So that's pretty much the difference between a brushless lawnmower and the lawnmowers that we're used to. So I hope that helps, Richard. The next question is from Barbara. Barbara asks, what is the best tool for removing ceramic tile from your floor? Okay, Barbara, you're going to need a few tools, okay? You're going to need a ball peen hammer, a chisel, a floor scraper, an angle grinder, a pry bar, and a belt sander, okay? Now, you may not need all of those tools. It depends on the size of the project. If it's a smaller project, you may only need the ball peen hammer and the chisel. But if it's a larger project or larger area, you may need some of the power tools like, the angle grinder, the multi-tool or oscillating tool, and the circular saw as well. So if you're starting with a small area, all right, all you really need is the ball peen hammer and the chisel. And you want to take the chisel and chisel out the grout line. You want to start with the grout line. So take the hammer, tap out the grout line with the chisel, and, start there. So if you got a large area you're working with, like a hallway or a large room, like a living room or something like that, then you want to use a power tool like a circular saw or a grout saw or something like that instead of a chisel, right? That's going to take you forever just to do it with a chisel. And it's going to save you a lot of time, and it's a lot easier. So with a large room, you do the same thing. You take a circular saw and you adjust the depth and you go down the grout line. Same with a grout saw or the power tool you're going to use, like a multi-tool or something like that. You just go down the grout line with the power tool, and you want to make sure that you don't go too deep and hit the subfloor and mess up your tool. So you got to adjust the depth, on the saw. And if it's a multi-tool, just, you can kind of gauge that because you have more control with that. And just go down the grout line with those. Okay, so once you remove the grout from around the tile, with your chisel or your power tool, you can take a pry bar or a scraper, a floor scraper with a longer handle to pry up the tile, okay? And you can also use that scraper to scrape away some of the glue or adhesive that's under the tile. Okay, that's why it has that sharp edge. So once you do that, you can just take the fragments out of tile, and then you want to remove any old mortar that's left under there. So you can do that with a chisel as well, but you don't want to use the small chisel you did for the grout. You want to use a wider chisel. A bricklayer's chisel is recommended for that. So once you scrape all the old mortar out, you're ready to pretty much sand it. Okay, thanks for the question, Barbara. Hope that helped you. The next question is from Purcell. Purcell asks, I'm starting my new job as a forklift service tech, and one of the tools I'm required to get is a Fluke meter and probe. Could you tell me the difference between a Fluke meter and a regular multimeter or digital meter? Well, Purcell, Fluke multimeters are known to be some of the most reliable multimeters out there. Okay, they're kind of like a hybrid between a digital multimeter and an analogs in that they have a bar graph. Okay, so that's said to be better than a pure digital readout. So another thing about Flukes is that they have a very good battery life. So they last a lot longer than a regular digital multimeter battery. One of the reasons that is because Fluke multimeters turn themselves off automatically. Okay, so if you forget to turn it off, it has an auto shut off. And that definitely increases the battery life of your Fluke multimeter. Fluke multimeters are also designed to handle a variety of voltages from low to high. A lot of the cheaper multimeters can't do that. Matter of fact, there have been cases where people used, the cheaper multimeters on, high voltage work, and the multimeter exploded, right, and caused injury. Fluke multimeters are designed to, not have that happen. And another thing about Flukes is that the calibration stage is pretty accurate, and it doesn't affect the circuit that you're measuring as much as a cheaper multimeter would. So that's one of the reasons why Flukes are considered one of the best out there. So I hope that helps, Purcell. Thanks for the question. Okay, so the next question is from Tamika. Tamika asks, can I use a paint sprayer to paint my ceiling? So the short answer to that question, Tamika, is yes, you can use a paint sprayer to paint your ceiling, but you want to make sure that you use the correct type of paint sprayer for that job. See, there's two types of paint sprayers. There's the HVLP paint sprayer, that stands for high volume, low pressure paint sprayer, and then there's the airless paint sprayer. So what's the difference? Well, an HVLP paint sprayer is designed for smaller surfaces like handrails and cabinets, while an airless paint sprayer is designed for large flat surfaces like walls and ceilings. So you want to make sure that if you're going to paint a ceiling or a wall, get an airless paint sprayer. It'll be much better. Thanks for the question, Tamika. Hope it helped. Okay, so the last question for today is from Kathy. She asks, what tools do I need to change my starter? I'm assuming you mean your car starter, right, Kathy? Well, you're going to need some sockets, some wrenches. You're going to need some jack stands to drive your car up on so you can get up under there. You're going to need maybe a screwdriver, some pliers, a battery terminal puller to remove the wiring and the positive battery cable from the solenoid as well. And once you do that, you just loosen the bolts and pull it out, put the new starter in and make the same connections as far as wiring, and then just tighten the bolts and you should be done. Thanks for the question, Kathy. Hey guys, if you learned something today or you got some advice, leave it in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.